Okay, everybody, today we're going to do something a bit different. It's actually all pre-recorded, and I'm just adding commentary to it. And, yeah. So, today's video is going to be different. It's going to be Spore and Destroy Humans combined. Today, we will be creating the Furons from Destroy Humans in Spore. Things begin when this space rock crashes into what would be, in the future, planet Furon. Our lives begin in the cell stage, where the Furons are pretty pathetic, to be honest, but it doesn't take long for us to evolve and have weapons built right into our bodies. We use these to obtain dominance and eat other creatures who would just get in our way, eating more and more and eventually outgrowing our spikes for poison shooters, and then those poison shooters, we outgrew them too, because we were finally able to electrocute nearby creatures. It wasn't all easy though. We had some big guys to deal with, but in the end, we made it through. Eventually, it was time to move on to the next chapter in our lives. We grew legs and adjusted our posture a little bit, and we managed to swim to the surface. Here on land, things will be different. We were still a bit pathetic, but we weren't the only pathetic people around here. Nope. There was a group of these worms nearby, and of course, we totally wiped them out, with no trouble at all. We hatched a new generation, and now our eyes are a little bit different. We also grew arms, and best of all, we could shoot purple poison at our foes now, which we then immediately put to use, of course. Our brains began to grow as we became more advanced and dominant in this world. And with that, we can now travel around with another Furon to help us in our journey. And that's exactly what we did. Bruh. Our next generation now had the red eyes that we know and love Furons having. Except for the original two games, even though they technically were red, but they were really dark. It was hard to see them, but they were red in the originals. But the remakes, you can definitely see that it's red. Also, our feet are a little bit different, and we've gotten a bit more shiny. We fought and ate meat from our fallen foes. Eventually, once again, our brain grew. We fought some pretty interesting creatures, including noses, Garfield, yes, that Garfield as in the cat. We saw a UFO which we would have totally destroyed and stolen had we been able to, and we even fought some other Furons. As for why this happened, it's because I've actually created Furons in Spore before and shared them, and they appeared in the game randomly. There are imposters among us! We lured some enemies closer to our nest so that we could all group up against them, and then we evolved some sharp things onto our arms, which will become handy for now. We fought together as an army, and our brains grew so much that we ended up moving on to the next chapter in our lives. Our next generation will be the definitive edition, so we evolved even more, getting our proportions just right, and we are ready to form our very first village. First thing we did as a village, well, it was pretty similar to everything else we've done in our life so far. We ran up to a group of unsuspecting creatures, beat them up, and then ate their meat. From inside their bodies. This was way back before Furons had developed their technology, so there's no cloning, and they hadn't used any nuclear weapons yet either, so they were able to reproduce just fine. Birthing better, or however you pronounce this guy's name. But the joy our villagers had from seeing him didn't last long, as some wild animal decided it would be a good idea to come by and snack on our hard-earned food. So we did just what you thought we would do. We ganged up and absolutely annihilated him, and then ate him. Eventually, another village formed. These deformed potato-looking creatures were not going to last too long, however. We had plans to own this world. Also, for some reason, King Kong is here. And so is another baby Furon. We equipped ourselves with axes and headed over to pay these new guys a little visit. We marched over there. Slowly but surely. Unfortunately, we ran into some trouble on the way there and got attacked by some wild animals, which our chief then blew up. Our first fight didn't go so well thanks to those wild animals, so we had to retreat and have more kids. And gather more food too, because that's also important. We went up to the King Kong creatures and gave one of them a snack, which they accepted, and now we had our own pet who will lay eggs for us to eat and fight whenever someone tries to mess with us. Imagine having a giant gorilla the size of the Empire State Building as a pet. It was finally time to attack again, so we went back over to the Brown Village to give them a piece of our massive mines. But unfortunately we couldn't do it, and we had to repeat the last process as fast as possible. Why did we have to do this so fast? Because, well, there was going to be some more competition coming if we didn't get rid of these guys soon. While gathering food, I noticed there was a massive food source in the woods. However, we definitely wouldn't be able to take this guy down, so it was safer to just stick to what we were doing at the time. We went back to fight, and this time we had a plan for our villagers to each attack different people. I don't know if this actually makes a difference in the game or not, but that was our plan, and it worked this time. Our village now got bigger, and we could have a bigger army.
I feel bigger. Good.
But there was now more competition, so we had to get to work gathering food, so we could fight them before they could get us. Which didn't take long, as the Pink Village decided to come by for a little violent visit. We fought back, and in an act of revenge, and because we had just wiped out some of their villagers, we went to their village to demolish it, which was a success, and we even took some of their weapons. So now our arsenal has expanded to ranged weapons. We can now throw spears at people. With that, there was 2 villages down, and 3 to go. Our next target, the Cyan Village, which took some time, but eventually we got rid of them, which meant we only had 2 villages to go. And now our village has even more room for more Furons. We decided to get more food, so we all worked together to attack these creatures. And now we had all 3 weapons, so we attacked, and soon enough, the Green Village was no more. Which left us with the final village, who were in the process of attacking us, so we had to hurry back. We weaponed up and headed out to the last village. Once we get rid of these guys, we will be able to move on to the next chapter, and we couldn't take them on, so we had to retreat again. Too many of us had died, and we needed to gather more food and have more kids. This orange village was very aggressive, and they came for us while we were still weak, and unfortunately, we were all dead. But that's okay, because I saved the game and reloaded. I sent away the remaining survivors to gather eggs, while the orange jerks were just destroying our stuff. But then I realized I could sell our tents for food, and then we could have more babies be hatched. So I did just that. And we managed to fight them off this time, but at what cost? We had to repair our stuff, grow the population, and build the tents again. And all that costed food, which we were now low on. But we managed to do it. We gathered the food and then evaluated what weapons we should use, and decided on axes and spears. The torches just don't do well against the villagers, despite giving them third-degree burns. We attacked, and we were finally the only village around. We celebrated our victory by dancing around the campfire. It was now time to get civilized. Our village now has constructed this massive building, which is actually modeled after the Emperor's Summer Palace from Path of the Furon. So that's a fun fact there, that I made it look like that. Anyway, it was now time for our first city to be officially founded. And we also constructed our first vehicle, a military vehicle. However, we were limited to just the land for now. But that didn't stop us from designing it to look like a flying saucer. We used this to claim a spice geyser, and attempted to run over some village who hasn't evolved yet. Even though they weren't as evolved as us, they still fought back and we were unable to destroy their main tent. Speaking of villages evolving, a nearby village moved towards civilization, and although they were friendly to us in the beginning, we still planned on world domination, and we're going to attack soon. But first we needed our city to have some buildings, so I built some buildings. Then claimed another spice geyser for some more cash. Now these enemy cities that we have here, they have some strange looking buildings. That's because years ago I made some adventures in Spore and I had some interiors built, and these were literally just the walls, and they're saved as buildings because that's how the game works. And I think I should have put the GA prop in the tags because I don't think it would appear in the main game mode. But anyway, this is who we're dealing with, and we're going to destroy these weird buildings. Our tanks headed over to this place and opened fire on their people. Eventually they surrendered, and the city became ours.
Gotcha, Crouton!
We've lost him!
But then something unexpected happened. A giant monster decided to visit our main city and attack it. So of course we fought back and stopped him. Next up, we captured a city near the water. So now we could finally be able to make some boats, which of course has a bit of saucer design to it. We were under attack a lot, but we fought through and finally figured out air travel. We were one step closer to the flying saucer. Now while we couldn't get into space just yet with this, it was our first official flying saucer. Very basic in design, but it flew and it could destroy things. We used our new saucers to attack another city, this time across the sea, and it eventually became ours. But this victory was short-lived, because enemies, of course, came up to it, attacked it, and claimed it. So, we went back a little bit. Civilization stage in the Furon's life was a long, violent, and cold one. Many died, many buildings were destroyed, but eventually Archvoodle chose us. And with some mysterious text that just randomly appeared on the screen that I don't know how that happened, that's very strange. This text popped up on the screen, and out of nowhere we had a lot of money. A lot of money. We were able to afford more vehicles and turrets to defend our cities. And we caused some big damage. Especially when we unlocked the big ones. We launched these missiles and these last two cities just gave up. So, we finally owned the entire planet. Global domination was for the Furons, and we were finally able to make our first steps into space with our new saucer. We traveled to a local planet, scanned some things, and even got some new weapons for the saucer. Now at this point I was going to do some bit where we go to the Adventure Town mission, and then the Furons think it's too silly for them or whatever, and then they blow the whole thing up, but the game ended up crashing, so that's out of the picture. But what we can do is a quick story about how the Blisk fight went. So here it is. Many, many years have passed. Many planets have been conquered by the Furons, and now they face their biggest challenge, the Blisk. We arrive on Mars, where we fight a bunch of Blisk. The war was rough, and we had to resort to nukes, which unfortunately destroyed our DNA, but we all know the rest of the story. The Furons let off some steam, quote-unquote, on Earth, and now the humans have Furon DNA. Even more years pass, and now we see this. Crypto arrives to Earth. I'm just going to leave the rest of this video here, and it's going to be gameplay of the first Destroy Humans mission recreated in Spore. This is something I did maybe like a year ago or something, and I never got around to doing the rest of them. I don't think I will. But yeah, I recreated the first mission, and here it is. Anyway, that was just a quick little video. Maybe. I don't know how long it is yet, really, but that was the video. I do kind of want to do some Spore challenges. And, yeah. I don't have anything else to say, though. I just wanted to make the Furons in Spore and see how their evolution went. So that was this video. Goodbye. Ooh, there's one.